Hello, my friends. This is Lada from AstroladaOfficial, and we continue with our 2025 predictions. Today, my guest is Lady Casha. She's a mystic, a numerologist, and energy reader. You've known her from previous years for our marathon, our astrology and predictions marathon. Hello, Lady Casha.
Hello, Lada. Nice to be here again. It's good to see you.
Lovely to be in your presence and in your energy, Kasha. How you've prepared for us a presentation with the energies and the numerology of the year. What can we expect?
Okay, so I've looked at it through the lens of numerology, and it's a 9 universal year. So I looked at the universal energy, and also I've done looking at the energies. My focus has been on how we are going to experience what is happening. You have so many excellent, astrologers and other readers that are talking about the outer events, but I've been focusing on how that will work with us and the challenges that will be going through because of that.
Beautiful. That's, I think, what people want to hear, how they're going to feel and how to best thrive in those times for us.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is I did the reading first, and then I watched your talk with Elena and Alejandro the other day, and I saw so many similarities to their reading, so it's really interesting. So there's definitely something real that we are tapping into.
Wow, and astrologically, we're seeing it because when they told me the peak events that they measured with quantum energy, because they're not psychic or anything, they use instruments. And then I was like, wow, these are exactly the months that the astrology is off the charts. And that
Yeah.
it's most conspicuous. So it's crazy, a third confirmation through energy reading and numerology you're giving us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I was a bit taken aback by that, but at the same time, not. It's real, it's real.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you want me to start, I first looked at the year as a whole, and the universal year is easy to find. Let me see here. This is the first time I'm using slides, so you'll bear with me. It's easy to find a year number. You just add the number. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. And this is the universal. So this is pertaining to all of us. If you want to know your own personal year, you just add the day and month of your year with the year of the global year.
So you just say I'm 14th of April, 1 plus 4 is 5 plus 4, which is April, is 9. And then I add the number 9, which is this year, 2020.
Yes, and maybe I should say there are two schools. One is that you add the current year or where you are at right now, and the other one is that you look at it from your latest birthday. So you have not had your birthday yet, so
Mhm.
you add 24
So, yeah.
to the day and month.
Yes.
Yes.
But so basically add 9, which is 2025, to your day and month of birth to end at one number.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So I will not talk about that, but you can just keep that in mind because the energy of the numbers are universal as well. So you can just maybe or have a reading with me. Yeah, and
Yes.
I will. Yeah. Okay, so the 9 is like evidently the highest of all single digit numbers. So it sort of contains the energy of all the other ones. And it is a number of completion and closure and letting go. So that is one of the most dominant energies of this year, as it marks the culmination of the entire 9-year cycle. So it's also a time to resolve any issues that are still lingering. It's a time to tie up loose ends and bring conclusions to projects or relationships or whatever, and to reflect on what we've been through, so that we are preparing ourselves throughout the entire year for the next chapter, the next cycle that is to come. So there are many cycles, especially in a personal numerology, that works parallelly. So the years are just one cycle, but they follow pretty much the natural order of creation, from one, which is the inception or the planting of the seeds, and then through the entire thing until, 9, when the leaves falls off, and and preparing for the next cycle of growth. And letting go then is another very important topic. We are asked to release what no longer serves us, and if anything leaves us, that it can be an emotional experience, but what we need to keep in mind is that what leaves us now is to create space for something better and something new, which can be helpful. The philosophical perspective can be helpful for emotional experiences. So it's just to have like an underlying truth to keep to throughout the year. And that also makes it a year for spiritual growth, as we learn to see things differently, and we can correct ourselves if we are out of alignment with our spiritual path and our higher purpose. So let me see here. Yeah, for all of us, this is a year to forget about ourselves a little bit, to transcend our ego and have our common best in focus. And that is, the number 9 is forgiving if we course correct. So if we feel like we are not in a good space, if we examine that and make corrections, everything can shift for the better pretty easily. And if we are on a good path here, the 9 can be, very giving and in an all-round way, a very beautiful energy. But it demands some kind of maturity from ourselves. Another aspect of the 9 then, in this same spirit of letting go, is to detach from outcomes and not holding on too tightly, because that will block this beautiful transformation that is available or potential here. We should trust in the natural cycle of these endings. There can be no ending without the beginning. The ending of a pregnancy is a birth. The ending of single life is a marriage. Everything ends, but it's to create, opportunity for something so much better. The 9 also, like I said, to focus on what is our common and highest best good. So there's a humanitarian focus, and also on a larger scale. This can be a year when outdated systems can be done away with, and societal structures can be transformed. Very interesting if anybody's into politics to see how that will play out. So that's the universal energies. And then I've asked how we are. Sorry?
Can
Sure.
I say something? Because
Absolutely.
these words that you've given us, this is exactly what I see for 2025, because it's a year basically of Pisces. This is the energy of, like, 9 is the last number, is the last sign. And we're
Yeah.
having this year mostly planets moving between Pisces and Aries and back to Pisces, which is like endings, a bit dipping our toe in new beginnings, then back to completions and endings. So it's incredible how the numerology aligns perfectly with the astrology. And I looked back when it was again a 9 year, the year 9, and it was 2016. And
Yeah.
it was also a personal year 9. And this is when my marriage ended, previous marriage, when I left Europe and went to America. So many endings, but also new beginnings. And I had to trust the process because I was going somewhere I've never thought. And I had to trust, can I trust this new person that I met, my husband, what you talked about, this, to trust that the universe will take you through this process, those endings, and to release it. And it's been the best thing ever in my life. So to give people the heads up to trust
Yeah.
the process, definitely.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's how I come to love numerology. First, it changed my life 180 when I understood the underlying principles and the blueprint of my soul, but also after 25 years of knowing it and the confirmation. Because those things that were promised to me in my chart when I did it first has come to pass with, so I have no doubt how accurate it is if it's rightly read and interpreted.
And when you make personal consultations to people, use numerology plus your energy ability as a mystic and energy reading as well. I'll put the link below for people who'd like to have a personal reading with you, but you're also offering a gift that comes with the reading for our viewers, which is a calendar that you have created. Can you tell us a little bit about this calendar?
Yeah, I started this year to create images, and then I felt like I wanted to put them to use somehow. So I have created a calendar that is a little bit more than just a way to track time. It's first and foremost, it's built on the images that are, from what I understand, they speak to people, but there's also an affirmation or inspirational quote for each month that people can use to stay on track, and also the numerology of, briefly, the numerology of each month and the important astrological dates. No explanation, just, the dates of aspects and transitions and stuff.
And if people
So
want to have it in instead of on a electronic variation, they can order it. I'll put the link below from your profile where they can receive it at home.
as a physical copy, yes.
Okay.
So there are two options actually for technical reasons, one for the North America, the US, Canada, and Mexico, and one for the EU and the rest of the world. But the content and substance of it is the same. It's just for technical reasons. And then, like I said, my offer would be if anybody wants to have a reading with me, they will get a PDF version of it.
Perfect.
So when we come to the individual month, you will see the images and the quote. So we'll get there. If you want a pre-taste of it, what it could look like. So the next, or is there anything else before we proceed?
Yes, carry on. I'm intrigued.
Okay. Yeah, so I took a reading of the an overall for the year, and my focus has been then on how we are going to experience that which is taking place in the world. And I started to look at where we're coming from. And what I see, it's evident. And also one thing I want to say is that this reading, when I say we, I don't mean the entire population of the world. I mean those that are tuning into this reading. That was my ask for who the energy is for, or who I'm reading. It looks like, I mean, it's evident that what we've gone through, especially the last 4 years, but it's been building up over a longer time than that, I feel, that we are waking up to an understanding of reality that we have not seen before. And increasingly, we have all become more and more aware of yet deeper and deeper layers. And it feels now like this development is something that is secured. Nothing can stop it. Even though, of course, it may play out differently for different people. And also with the fact in mind that progress is not linear. Waking up is not linear. Healing is not linear. And so, of course, it can be seen as a back and forth process. Right now, at this moment, it looks like we have achieved a good level of emotional awareness and maturity. And maybe that is, a consequence of waking up and making use of the insight that we are having. But our hearts are open, and we are able to actually witness what is going on in the world without becoming hardened by it. And I think that is because we have this perspective. And maintaining emotional balance is key right now. We need to stay grounded and aligned with our spiritual center and to pull us back to it if we are knocked out. That does not mean that during the year there will not be times when we will not get triggered, because 2025 is an eventful year and the pace will be picking up. It is impossible for all of us to stay present, awake, and aware at all times. Everybody knows that we have our own specific emotional baggage and triggers, and buttons will be pushed. But instead of being frustrated and angry about that, we can look at that as an opportunity to clear out even more debris of our past, our own personal negativity that's still affecting us somehow. And what can be a challenge is that at times we will need to step back and disengage when we become too entangled or triggered and upset by what's going on. It's best to create a little space and work on ourselves until we can come back with a constructive and balanced energy. It's not to say that becoming upset is wrong, of course, that can be a pointer, but it's not an energy that we want to bring when we are engaged in creating a solution to whatever we feel is needed. And the outcome of the year, when we lived through this experience, is that we gained significant understanding and more skills to enable us to navigate the shifts, because they do not end with 2025, as we all know. And then the overall energy is very interesting. I usually don't disclose the cards that I am working with or get when I'm working with, but for once I'll do that because I found that interesting. The overview energy of the year is the tarot card, the World. So this is absolutely an experience of completion, fulfillment, and integration, just like the 9 universal years suggest. So I think my understanding is that we will dance beautifully with this energy despite how demanding they are, and that we are going to be able to rise above and honor the journey that we're on and acknowledge the experiences, the challenges, and the wisdom that we are gaining.
It's amazing how the card you pull, the astrology and the numerology, they all point to completion.
Yeah, yeah.
Fulfillment of
And that can be, an emotional experience. So that's why it's good to know that there's nothing wrong here, and that we can react emotionally at times. But if we use the spiritual principles and the philosophical understanding or metaphysical understanding, we have tools to not, get drowned in those kind of emotions.
Beautiful.
Did I cut you off?
No. I just said
Great.
beautiful.
Great. So with this, we are getting prepared then for the next chapter. Okay, so then I'm ready to speak about the individual months. And here, the slides will have the same format, all of them, with here's the image, here's the quote or the affirmation,
And
Here's
that's
the,
part of the calendar that anyone can order.
yes,
If they want
this
to read
is
it.
for each of the month here, yes. Although that will the calendar has a white background. And here is the universal energy, numerology wise. And here is a summary of the month energetically. So I will speak about each month a little bit. And how to get the universal month is by adding the universal year, which is a 9, with the 1 of January, you get 10. And 1 is always, as people know by now, a start of energy. So this is the beginning of a new cycle. Although in this context, that is a 9-year, it's good to know that what we start may not be long lasting, of course, depending on other influences and personal numbers. But it is a very strong initiation period, and our intuition will be enhanced, and there can be innovative ideas that comes to mind. The 10 in itself adds the energy of luck and fortune, and there can be a turn for the better somehow. Overall, the energy of the month is very nice. We can have a sense of fulfillment and gratitude and emotional contentment, and can be time to celebrate, although the beginning has a very heavy emphasis on transformation. So there can be a deep and very powerful experience that we have in the beginning, some ending of some sort. But I'm thinking in this context of the overall energy that it will probably also be experienced as something good right from the start. But whatever it is, in order to deal with this, it can be need for some kind of healing of some emotional baggage or wound, and definitely a need for shifting our perspective. It's not advised to dwell on what's been lost, but to recognize what remains. If we grieve, we may, of course, need to accept that and not deny it, but we should avoid holding on to emotions unnecessarily, avoid wallowing in it. Also, there's a little bit of challenging energy towards the end of the month. There can be a sense of conflict or challenge, but that can also be that we are called to walk away from a situation that no longer aligns with our higher selves and our higher good. And we can give ourselves permission to do that without having to make a big fuss of it. So it doesn't need to be like a conflict that is overt and shouting or anything like that, just a conflict of interests or something. So then February is a 11 month that can be reduced to the 2, but always with the 11, which is a so-called master number with a higher octave of 2, and can be you usually keep that and look at that too. And 11 comes with spiritual illumination, enhanced and heightened intuition and creativity. There's a lot of creative potential, and it can also be felt like a very nervous energy, so we can struggle a little bit with keeping our inner balance. There can also be sudden events that we need to respond to, and we may have to make quick decisions and be decisive. 2 makes it a month of cooperation and partnerships, and a need for patience and tolerance. Overall, the energy, how we will experience this is like, it's the energy of mystery, where we will not be able to see clearly. I liken this energy to walking in mist in a forest where you cannot see even the nearest tree. But if you have an inner compass or you have a physical compass in the woods, you can make sure that you are heading in the right direction. So you're not necessarily lost. It's just that you cannot orient yourself by looking to the external. So we need to rely on our inner guidance, even if we cannot see just where we are going with our physical eyes. So we need to listen to our inner voice. At the same time, in the beginning of the month, there's a grounding influence that will help us and that will feel good in the midst of this uncertainty. We may also have a feeling of wanting extra security, and we may be holding on to something that feels stable and safe, but it's also a warning against becoming overly attached to safety. So it's safe to let go a little bit and rely on our inner guidance here, because that will, help us on our way. And one other way to get ahead is to collaborate and do teamwork of different kinds, to build something together with others, to work with others and share our ideas. That has a strong potential at this time to lead to the success that we want. I mean, even if not maybe immediately, but in the long term. And the outcome of the month is a very lovely energy with bringing a sense of abundance and potential. We will be feeling this potential for long-term success, especially if we've been able to navigate the uncertainty well and being able to balance our need for security with, the urge of being open, and if we've been collaborating effectively. March, here comes the month. Numerologically, it's a 3 universal month with a 12 behind it. So it's a creative and expressive energy with spiritual undertones. And the 12 invites reflection and growth through seeing things from a new perspective, which is very, very important. I think that is the way through this month, actually. But it is a dual energy that calls for finding harmony between introspection and external expression. And if that external expression or also the introspection is blocked somehow, that is when it can be more difficult. The overall energy is actually very challenging, and I don't hesitate to call it when I see that, but I will also speak about, the way through. But, we can't deny reality. It's not, to evoke fear. It's rather to encourage seeing things as they are, and then getting the tools of shifting instead of going into full-blown denial. Yeah, the energy is challenging. There will be, of course, real things that are triggering it, but the level of worry, fear, and anxiety that we potentially will feel will be out of proportion. By overthinking and, getting triggered, we will in our own head make it much worse than it is, and more painful. For some, the anxiety will be very strong and very real, but it's important to remember that seeing it differently can ease that inner torture. Things are not as bad as we think they are, even if they don't look good, so to speak. So this is a time to really get into our spiritual power and not into our fears. And if we cannot correct ourselves on our own, we may need to ask for help, a trusted friend or a practitioner. We need to see the truth and regain a proper perspective. Otherwise, we are not doing any good, neither for ourselves or anybody else. The beginning of the month is also a bit challenging because it's an energy of deception and avoiding confrontation. So it can maybe take a little while before we take this in, and we can be tempted to avoid seeing the truth or shy away from it somehow. But the way forward is to become aware and to make conscious choices and a decision to align with our spiritual being and our higher values and higher purpose, and to seek some kind of harmony between our head and our heart, not to just, let the mind play the tricks on us. And the month concludes with a dreamy, a little bit confusing energy that calls for a need for discernment. It can be very inspiring, especially for artists and other creatives. We can lose ourselves a little bit, but too much, there will be, we'll be lost in full-fledged illusions or indecision.
Incredible. I'm also getting March as a very challenging month. With quantum energy, we got March as well, and you're confirming it now.
Yeah, and that is, I did this reading before I listened to your talk with Elena and Alejandro, so I make a special note about that. That's very interesting. Okay, then comes April, which is a 4 universal month with 13 behind it, and 13 is a very transformative energy that can bring changes. It's actually the energy of death and rebirth. And Einstein is said to have said this. I don't know if it's true, but it's true of quantum physics or physics, that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only change form. So that is the wisdom of the 13. It's, death is just a transition from one form to another. So it's nothing to fear, actually. And it's a very powerful number. So there's a powerful energy of transformation throughout this month and of release. 4 is also a very stable number that 13 can get reduced to. It's about discipline and being practical and structured and organized. So 4 will be a month of hard work and conscious effort to create results. The overall energy, how we're going to respond to this, I think we will come back somehow from March, and it seems like emotionally we will be in a much better place, and feel even maybe a curiosity about where things are going, and have new creative ideas on how to move forward. And the beginning of the month has a stability to it. We will feel much more stable and be focused on not only material matters, even though it's good for that, but in an all-round way, it's the stability of life. And there will be support of family and friends, blood related or not. The way forward throughout the month is to take swift and decisive action and maintain a clear focus on our goals. So, and it's important to guard against us being impulsive or rushing ahead without thought. At the end of the month, there will be room and a need for some kind of emotional reflection, or it can be something that has not panned out the way we thought they were. But again, look at what remains rather than dwell on what has been lost. And you'll see that not everything is wasted and that there is potential for everything to be restored or replaced. In the context of the universal month energy, this, we could keep in mind that transformation often involves letting go, so that we know that it's paving way for something better. Again, that's a theme actually of this year. Then May is a 5 with a 14 behind it. It's a dynamic energy of change and a desire for freedom and need to be adaptable to these changes. And it will be offering opportunities for growth and to explore and to break free from stagnated situations. It's also through the 14, there's a challenge having to do with balance and moderation to stick to the middle of the road here. The overall energy is again one of transformation. It's the central theme of May and one of the central themes of the year, even though there can be in different forms. This both aligns and augments powerfully the 14/5 energy, which brings change and the release of old patterns. And we are yet again urged to surrender to what no longer serves our growth and create space for renewal and freedom. In the beginning of the month, again, we will experience the energy of uncertainty I talked about earlier in February, with the sense of mystery and uncertainty and confusion. Our vision can be clouded again, so we need to rely extra heavily on our inner guidance. And the way forward is to consciously make sure and maintain that we have some kind of stability within ourselves, and to nurture ourselves and ground ourselves and take care of our practical life. The end of the month calls for some kind of taking time for rest, reflection, and recovery. It could be energetically, to catch our breath. And so we're invited to take a moment to step back and recharge, and also to integrate what we've been through, because it's been a lot now already. June is a 6 universal month with a 15 behind it. And 6 is always about nurturing and taking responsibility, and to blend that now with the spiritual challenges that the 15 behind it brings. It's an opportunity for growth, but we are also asked to confront any pitfalls such as over attachment or unhealthy dependencies. Emotional healing is a theme. So again, from another angle, we are invited to release old patterns and to create more harmony in our lives. The 6 is also an energy of service. So we may be asked to put our own needs a little bit to the side, but we should also not forget ourselves entirely and let ourselves go. So there's a need to balance that. We need to stay true to ourselves at the same time. The overall energy of the month, the way we will experience it, is it has a grounded and nurturing energy to it. And it can express itself as we're feeling stable and abundant and able to do what is called for. And we are, it's a month of feeling able and taking on that which I also talked about as the numerology of the month. We are able to be this person for others because we feel that stability within ourselves. The beginning of the month has a very swift moving energy to it. So we will feel urged to act, and we will feel determined. And there's a need also for clarity and focus, and to tackle that which shows up as with a need for us to deal with. The way forward is to remain open, and especially in areas related to personal development and finances. So there's an energy of taking care of our finances in June as well. The outcome of the month shows that we may experience somewhat of an emotional turning point, and we can be thinking about making some kind of decision to leave something behind, to seek a deeper meaning and spiritual growth, to walk away from that which no longer serves us, as I say on the slide. 7 is the number of July with the 16 behind it, and that's a very interesting energy. 16 can be a bit trying. It's a deeply introspective energy and carries the themes of spiritual awakening and transformation. But 16 can often come with a sudden shift that can be disruptive, and it can come in the form of something breaking down. It can be a structure that in some way, shape, or form is false or not good enough. And this is to reveal the truth about it. And it can be challenging. And now I'm talking about the numerology. So this is something that will happen to all of us to a bigger or lesser degree. So there can be the coming down of structures in July. But these happenings can serve as catalysts for growth. And if we approach them in the right way. The lesson of the 16 is humility, to go beyond the ego. So the 16 is challenging to the ego, but it's not as bad as the ego think, and the ego obviously think it's bad, but this is an opportunity for us to really step into our soul. The 7 that 16 can be reduced to, and which is the goal of 16, is a way of putting it, is an energy of self-reflection, of knowledge and inner growth. So the month will need a balance between navigating the external challenges and, on the other hand, finding inner clarity, peace, and faith. Faith, even though we cannot see. I mean, faith is believing in that and trusting that which cannot be seen with the physical eye. The overall energy, actually, I think that we will have a reaction to this to begin with, because the overall energy reflects the 16 a bit. We will lose our connection for a moment even. I'm not saying everybody will do that, because this is general reading and there are other energies and factors individually that needs to be taken into consideration. But in a general way, we will struggle a bit and feel afraid and maybe even abandoned by our higher selves or God or whatever. This can be materially or emotionally or spiritually, a sense of having lost our security. But again, the way forward is to look beyond the surface and the difficulties and recognize that this is not the end. This is not, you know, the end of the end. It's the end of something, but it's also paving the way for something better. That may, you know, even be a mantra, not only for this year, but for life, I think. Anytime something ends. So there is a lot of beautiful things that can come out of this, but it may take a moment before we realize that. And again, if you cannot do this on your own, seek help, seek support, seek, you know, someone that has the faith that you need if you cannot muster it yourself. The beginning of the month, though, thankfully has a stabilizing influence and urges us to focus, also holding on to, you know, the practicalities of life that will also help us get through this. And it's also a time of, you know, backing up our need for faith with facts and information, and we to seek that out too, to be curious and not, you know, fall into some kind of hopelessness, but instead, you know, there's an old saying, knowledge is power. So that is one way of moving, one of the ways to move through this. And then the month of the ends with some kind of return to stability and new insights that will help us feel balanced and secure. We will be rewarded for not giving in and giving up. Powerful month.
Yeah, astrologically, we also have Uranus changing signs that month,
Yeah.
and the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So that's the other huge month astrologically.
Yeah. Okay, so then comes August, which is an 8 month with a 17 behind it this year. That's a powerful combination of ambition, empowerment, and spiritual insight. The 17 has vision and aligns with higher purpose. And so this month is about integrating spiritual wisdom with practical achievements. And as the 8 is focused on material manifestation, and it's also a month of needing to keep balance somehow. The 8 always, when 8 is around or when we have 8 in our individual charts, it's a focus on keeping the balance between inner and outer, and between the material and the spiritual, etc. That's the way to work with this energy, as it can be a little bit loop-sided towards the material. So we need to make an active and conscious decision to also bring in the spiritual perspective here. Overall, the energy for August has a theme of fairness and truth and being accountable, and to align our actions with our values and ensuring balance in our decision making. And we need to have, you know, make sure that our integrity is intact when doing that and when going after the success that we're trying to achieve. It's also a month of reaping or experiencing the consequences of past actions, for better or worse. Whatever we've done, we will feel it somehow. And the beginning of the month will back up this energy on a, how would I say, higher octave as well. There's a call to action, and to do that with a balanced approach. But it can be some kind of awakening here. My definition of awakening is to understand who you truly are and to see the spiritual reality. So that is obviously not something that is done once and for all. There's seal after seal. So there's some new level of it that could take place here, and making us able to move forward with some kind of greater clarity and purpose. It can also have an energy of, it can be pivotal moment actually for some, the beginning of this month, when seeing the higher calling more clearly, and seeing where we come from in a different light, if that makes sense. By this time, the way forward is to keep the open heart and also a sense of adventure, because there's something beginning here on an energetic level, the way we feel it. And we should confidently step into this energy that is we are sensing, and that is leading into the next chapter. I feel it's beginning here already, and even though it's unknown, we cannot see. And I just want to, in my own life, even though I am a seer, so to speak, I can read where the energies are going. I look into that less and less, how it's going to play out practically. I look at the energy so that I can course correct, but I don't even plan anymore. My main focus is to stay aligned in every moment, and I trust that if the next step is on point, it will be on point in 10,000 steps as well. So I don't worry about the future anymore most of the time. I can also be triggered, but that happens less and less. And the more you strengthen that muscle to just be present in the here and now, the less you need to control the future by knowing how it's going to work out. It's just to, like the famous affirmation by Louise Hay, everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this experience, only good will come. All is well, and I am safe. Anyway, that's the energy of this month, the way forward. So we can, feel trustful and optimistic, even though we cannot see again with our physical eyes. And the month then also ends with reflection and evaluation, and we need to be patient, even though we can sense the new already. The seeds that are being planted will take time to grow, and it's actually 2026 that will be the big year for planting new seeds. So this is just a foretaste of it, somehow. On to September. September is an interesting month. Always September has the same energy, numerological wise, as the year. So the energy of 9 is doubled here, and this time with the 18 behind it. So the energy of completion, transformation, and spiritual growth is very heavy here. And the themes of closure or completion and also forgiveness. I haven't spoken about that, but 9 is the great number of forgiveness. And 9 is forgiving in itself, like I said. But if there's anything left that you need to forgive yourself or others for, this is the year to work on that. And I think that is something that you could do daily if there's something that really feels like a thorn in your heart or something. You know, you could just, and the intention of forgiving is just as good as being able to forgive. So my suggestion is to make that a daily practice, because the energies now support, it makes it easier to let go of resentment and supports forgiveness. And also, resentment and unforgiveness is very often the blocks to our life's unfoldment in the highest, best possible way. And sometimes it can be unconscious or, you know, suppressed. So even if you're very far ahead on your path, there can still be something. So use a little time to dig it up and see where you still hold on to something is a big advice for this year, but also especially then for this month. Things can turn around. There are miracles, and we are meant to live in the realm of miracles. And if we aren't, you know, there's something that we need to see or deal with to unblock that. So 18 in itself represents spiritual awakening through some kind of material challenges. And that doesn't mean that it will be a disaster somehow, but you know, the material reality can provoke us to awaken spiritually. We may need to face obstacles here and learn from our experiences. And if we take, you know, the challenges as opportunities for growth and to connect to our higher spiritual wisdom, this can be a beautiful month. I mean, every energy, every number, every vibration has its own beauty and challenges. And we're not meant to live in the challenges. We're meant to use them as you use weights in the gym, you know, to get strong spiritually. So we can move through any confusion or darkness into clarity and spiritual light, to use big words here, if we trust our inner wisdom and we do the work that we need to be doing. Then this can be a month of transformation, also of our material struggles or practical struggles, and we can become spiritually strong. The overall energy, I mean, also speaks about a dramatic shift. So this will come, you know, with some initial tremble, I will say, and some maybe, well, probable unexpected changes and revelations. So there will be, we will be shown the need for clearing out things here if we haven't done it already. And that can be outdated beliefs or structures, situations, and relationships, things that are no longer valid. And remember again, this is for our higher good. This is for the long term. Whatever happens here is to pave way for something better, even if we cannot see it in the moment. So we need to remind ourselves constantly about that. We are supported in this transformation. And if we can embrace these changes, and, you know, instead of resisting them and float with the energy, so to speak, there's potential for tremendous spiritual growth here. Compassion is one of the energies that I also see here in the beginning of the month, and that we will, if we cannot have it with ourselves, we need to ask for it and have others, you know, supply us with it. And I also see stability and emotional maturity despite any chaos going on. But then again, if we cannot supply it by ourselves, we need to ask for it. But there will be access to it. It's important to stay calm and centered when we navigate this overall disruptive energy. But we will tap into our inner strength and our courage here, and we will move through this, and we'll be able to take the action that we need, both internally and externally. And with time, we will be able to feel compassion also ourselves if we have not had it from the beginning. We will overcome this and emerge stronger. At the end of the month, again, I talked earlier about the need for collaboration. So here is also an energy of coming together with others somehow. And I think also that is a theme of the energies overall, not just for this year, but where we're going. We will need each other more and more, and to collaborate and to build new structures for ourselves, or at least in this context of this month, make attempts in that direction. Okay, so October, after the completion energy of September, comes October, which is a 1, with a 19 and a 10 behind it. So I spoke about the 10 before, which always represents the opportunity or possibility of a turning point for the better. This month would bring new beginnings and infused with the wisdom of the past cycles. 19 is a 1 and a 9, so it has, the beginning and the end very tangibly in it. And it brings themes of illumination and resolution, also independence, transformation, and empowerment. It's a dynamic energy that, can illuminate both our shadow and our light and the opportunities that we have. 19 can come with a conflict between our ego and our higher self or our soul. So that's something that may need to be worked out. The overall energy of the month, I think we've touched on it before. We will feel a need to leave something behind that we no longer feel is fulfilling. And I'm not surprised, since this year is so eventful and will provoke so much change within us, that we will feel that maybe things that not long ago felt very familiar and to us, we will start to feel that it's not any longer doing it for us. So that, and we will start to feel that there's something else somewhere and we need to go look for it. So many of us, especially us, and I talk about, AstroladaOfficial friends, are on this journey of seeking deeper meaning and alignment. And so I think this will be a very strong energy for most of us, even if we cannot define yet what it is that we're looking for. It's just, I am myself really amazed by how the energies I am experiencing now is actually so much different from anything I've experienced prior in my life. So the understanding that we're moving into new energies here is spot on, I think. It's just not what the planets or the numbers are saying. It's an actual experience, at least in my life. and not knowing where it's going, but having all of this practice of letting go makes it easier. So this is a month of really trusting the path ahead, even if we cannot see it. It will reveal itself as we go. And in the beginning of the month, we will have some kind of mental clarity and perhaps even breakthroughs mentally, from insights and seeing the truth or getting a new perspective that will cut through any confusion that we may have been dealing with. And we can use this to set intentions for the new cycle that is ahead. And I think we will be very forceful in doing this, and we can, cut through anything and feel very empowered in doing this and have a healthy combination of head and heart. So, because even if we are, do good of getting out of our mind, we could still use it as a tool. And there is something to reason and clarity that we could make good use of here to balance the emotional and spiritual journey that we are on. We can use our intellect as a servant. And that's the tool that is very obviously available to us this month. And the outcome of the month shows an energy of completion. Again, the theme of the year, fulfillment and conclusion. There will be a conclusion of a phase. We're beginning to near the end of the year, and the pull of the next year, 2026, that will be a one, is starting to be felt. And the year is coming to an end, so we can have we can be integrating that which we've been through and start to look forward. November is a 2-month with 20 behind it. So the month has a focus on partnership and patience and mutuality, if that's a word, mutual understanding, cooperation. It's a time when also for keeping a balance of introspection, and potentially there's also some spiritual awakening or some facet of spiritual awakening taking place. The 0 has an esoteric significance. It symbolizes infinite potential and the connection to the divine. So it enhances the number that it comes with. In this case, the emotional sensitivity and awareness that the 2 has, and it also adds a layer of protection, of divine protection. The overall energy of the month, the way we will experience it, is that we will feel pretty empowered, have a sense of authority over our own life. And we are at work with establishing some kind of order and new stability. And I don't know, I don't remember how much I mentioned the word creating a foundation and working on the foundation, but this is a year for that. But not only this year, but at times we will be working on the new foundation for the new cycles ahead, the new world ahead that we are actually moving into. So here we will, begin to feel, if we haven't before, that we are the leaders of our own life. And one theme for the rest of the year, or this last few months of the year, is leadership. And leadership, the way I look at it, is not, necessarily for a company or a party or a country. It's to be the leader of your own life. You don't ask permission. You don't ask for confirmation either, unless you need to double check your own inner guidance. But you define your path yourself somehow, and you actualize your life from your own unique individual ideas. So the energy of the beginning of the month has a very dynamic and even visionary energy to it. And here we will be stepping into this leadership role. We can also be very inspiring to others and pursue our ambitions with some kind of confidence. And we're not fully there though. So the way forward is to continue educating ourselves, building our skills, and working on our projects and to refine our craft, and also to pay attention to detail, to do this work, whatever work it is that we're doing, fully and not skip any phases, but to do it really well. It's also, again, a good energy when it comes to collaborating with others or learning from others to enhance our own abilities. At the end of the month, I think we will feel pretty nice. There's a focus on, our emotional self. We will feel emotionally sound, I think, and have access to our intuition, and feel harmonious, with ourselves and the world and in our relationships.
Yeah, I think that's true for astrology as well, for November and even December, because we have a grand trine in water, this feeling of harmony, of emotionally at peace. It holds for a whole month. It's very rare between Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. So the year ends in a much more positive
Yes.
energy.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that. Nice. Yeah, December is a 3-month with 21 behind it. It brings creative expression, joy, and spiritual fulfillment. And 21 combines the optimism and self-expression of 3 with a sense of completion and integration. So it's also time to reflect on what we've been through and to celebrate any achievements, and also for setting intentions for the future. And again, the energy of leadership is very strong, especially when it comes to having a vision and to be inspired, and we can step into our power now with some kind of confidence, and we can pursue our goals and using our creativity and our charm to bring ideas we have to life, while we at the same time inspire others along the way. In the beginning of the month, I see emotional inner balance, and I see compassion and the intuitive side of leadership coming forward. And it's also important then to stay emotionally grounded and not lose ourselves entirely in this, and to navigate our creative and expressive energies, which is the hallmark of the 3, actually. The way forward can be to review our past in some sense, because there can be something left that we need to release, and for us to be able to step into more of this empowered energy. I think many of us feel like we're spiritually cold, even if we cannot, define it practically, but there's something urging us forward towards something. And I think that taking a little bit of time to reflect will help us step further into this alignment with our path and our higher purpose. And at the end of the month, we will connect with the energy of uncertainty again, with the mystery. But this time I feel it will be less confusing and more, sense of wonder for the mystery and the magic of life. It will not be as fearful, with not being able to see, because we will be more anchored in our inner self and have confidence in that we can keep walking even though we cannot see visually, physically. Even though there are uncertainties, we can still be certain, so to speak. Certainty is a very useful concept, and can, but it doesn't pertain to being certain that I will have, a red car. It's just certain that I always will have perfect transportation. That certainty, that kind of certainty. So that's where the month ends. Yeah, that is it. Let me share here. Thank you. And here's a slide. Let me see if those, of the calendar, how they physically look like, if anybody's interested.
Very beautiful graphics, and they're kind of native Indian energy to them, and very
Yeah.
pretty. Thank you so much for your insights, Lady Kasha, for the numerology and energy reading for us. It was fascinating seeing how it aligns, like all roads lead to Rome. No matter what system we
Yes.
take, we tap into similar and pretty much the same energies. Thank you for this confirmation and through guiding people and our viewers and doing this reading specifically for them. And for any concluding words you'd like to say to our viewers?
Well, I think no, just, this will be a year of profound transition. I think we're ready for it. I mean, it's like this is not our first rodeo, so to speak. So just keep on keeping on. I think I've said everything, actually.
Beautiful.
I can't
Thank
think of
you.
anything more than thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be back.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. If you'd like to connect with Lady Kasha personally for energetic reading, insights, and numerology, I'll put the link below in the description, and you get this beautiful calendar as an electronic version, or you can order it directly as a physical calendar that will arrive on your address. So thank you so much and have a blessed 2025.
Thank you, Lada, and thank you, everybody. Be good.